Welcome to the Chicago Home Partner Podcast. I'm Samuel Shahan, along with my co-host Amanda McMillan. We discuss the Chicago real estate market. Our goal is to educate you on what's actually happening out there and how it impacts your real estate goals.
13 is my lucky number, just so you know that.
It is?
It is.
Taylor Swift's favorite number is 13.
I'm not really a Swiftie. I think she's incredibly talented, and I think she's a brilliant woman. I haven't engaged in that part yet. I'm guessing my girls are on the brink of it. So.
Do you realize that her concert right now, her tour, is about to gross over $1 billion?
It was the event in Chicago that sold out more hotels than any other event this year.
I know. That's insane.
Rock on, Taylor Swift. I may not be a true fan right now. I'm not going to say I am, but I appreciate that woman as a talent, as a businesswoman, as anything.
I love that they're everyone's talking about how 3 women are really helping the economy stay out of a recession. It was Taylor Swift, Beyonce, and Barbie. The Barbie movie. Literally, because they gross so much money.
I guess it's a whole lot of girl power.
That is a lot of girl power. I love it.
Anyways, 13. We are back for episode 13.
Yes.
That's where we were going with it.
Yes.
You have been doing some fun date stuff lately with a fun somebody.
Yes, I just started dating someone. It's going very well. And I am the one who has to always, I don't always have to create the dates. I create the dates a lot of the times.
Yes.
Because I'm a very social person and I like to be out.
I am not that person. I am not the planner.
Yeah.
So I can understand the other side of the equation, and I appreciate.
I'm dating an introvert. So I'm like, let's go places. So we did a really fun date the other night. It was called So Far Chicago. They do have like an Instagram, so follow them.
What's it called again?
So Far Chicago.
Like
so SOFAR. Okay. It's all one word.
Literally.
But it was really great. It was like it's these intimate like little concerts that
Where's it at?
They give you the location 24 hours before the actual concert. So
okay,
you buy the ticket.
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
And so it's, the neighborhood.
Okay.
So you like, all right, you're like, hey, I'm going to buy in West Loop, or hey, I'm going to buy in River North, or in Logan
So what
Square.
types of places is it at?
So this one was at a distillery, which was really kind of fun.
Nice.
And I didn't realize that this like area was chocked full of distilleries.
What area were you in?
It was West Fulton, so west of Ashland. There were a ton of them, and I was like, wow, this is really great to kind of see, because that area is so industrial. You like literally drive past it and you're like, okay, there's not much here.
Yeah.
But there actually was. I thought it was fascinating.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that night we did the Speakeasy. Do you know that train car that's right by Milwaukee?
Yes.
And like it's Milwaukee, Chicago.
It's where you can get on the highway by Ogden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did that one. Such good cocktails, really good vibe. It was so
quaint,
fun.
isn't it?
Yeah.
God, I was there years and years ago, but I haven't been back since they reinvented it.
Yeah, I mean, we drive past it all the time.
Yeah.
I live off Chicago Avenue, so I drive past it almost on a daily basis. And literally that night we saw it. There were 2 people sitting outside. We're like, let's just stop. Little impromptu.
That sounds awesome.
So what have you been up to? Like, what are the fun things you're doing in Chicago right now?
Right. So it's fun because the kids are at a good age. We are at a point where we can do a little bit more stuff with them. The thing that we did the other day is that we took the bikes. We biked over to Bucktown. Cool. We did the Bucktown Art Walk, nice. Which has we hadn't been in a few years, probably definitely before COVID and definitely before kids. I just couldn't believe in how big it had gotten. It was huge.
Yeah.
And just the amount of local talent. I mean, most of them are Chicago-based or Midwest-based, and the diversity in the art and stuff like that, it was fun. There was a band playing. You could get food. I mean, it was a kind of a normal street festival type thing, but just laden with artists showcasing their work. And then we rode the bikes home. We actually stopped at El Cid to sit on their patio, one of my favorites.
What's El Cid?
El Cid, the restaurant.
Oh, I don't
over in Logan Square. It's a little Mexican restaurant. It's been there forever. Fantastic. They have twofold. They have this patio out back, which you almost feel like you're not in the city anymore.
Oh, fun.
So it's great. And then they actually, a few years back, they created a lounge upstairs to take on. They've always done great summer business.
Yeah.
But they created this really kind of cozy, intimate lounge upstairs to take on the winters as well.
Interesting.
And the food is fantastic, and the margaritas are really good.
Good. I love a good
I
margarita.
like a good margarita.
Yes.
So
How does the Bucktown Art Festival compare to the other art festivals in the city?
So the only ones that I've had a ton of experience with, I would say, is Old Town. I'm trying to figure out how to say this without coming across the right. The one thing that I really liked about the Bucktown Art Festival is that it has a very local vibe.
Okay.
It felt like you were walking down the street, seeing tons of the neighborhood comes out, and I think part of it is that neighborhood vibe. You're immersed in the middle of Bucktown, and it really spreads out well. I think the Old Town Art Walk has gotten so big and so popular; it's become a very touristy event.
Okay. Yeah.
So the last few years that I went to that, and I admittedly haven't been recently, I think that it just got a little bit more not local feel to it.
Yeah. It's a party scene.
Totally. People came down, they were
for.
bouncing in and out of the bars. They were probably consuming a little bit too much.
Yeah.
A lot of out of area and stuff like that. So this, I felt like there was more attention on the actual art than on the scene of the art.
Gotcha.
So,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Actually, I've been meaning to ask this about you as well, and she has no idea.
Uh-oh.
So, speaking of like it getting bigger and bigger, the one thing that I was
I don't like anything talking to me about getting bigger.
No, the one thing that I was like reading over the weekend was an article about the Logan Square weekly market.
Oh, the farmers market.
They were talking in the article that they were having issues with all these unsolicited vendors that
just
are showing up
Mm-hmm.
and they want to expand it. They're trying to get permits for it, but they can't get permits because the police don't want it. How are you thinking about it? Because you live right there, and you always say that's one of your favorite things in the city.
It's phenomenal. I mean, admittedly, because of when it is Sunday mornings, we don't partake in it as much as we want because that's a busy time for us. It's, in my opinion, it's been one of the best farmers markets out there. I always say that I think the Logan Square and I think the Lincoln Park one is fantastic as well. I think the hard part about this, which is what they're running into, is because it's on the boulevard, is that they set up and they do a great job with it, but because there's so much other space that you're constantly seeing people just getting into that other space, a lot of garage sale types, people just bringing stuff out and wanting to sell it on the boulevard further down.
Interesting.
It's a hard thing because obviously they need to find a way to manage it, but you also want to support the success of it because it brings, there's so much good that comes out of the farmers markets, in my opinion. It's a win-win thing, but I do understand that they're struggling with how to properly manage it, especially when we all know that one of the issues that our city is dealing with is the enrollment in the police force and what's happening with that. So it's how do we keep events doing better and thriving more, but with a little bit less support?
Yeah.
So,
well, they actually just did that with the Friday morning swim club.
Yeah.
On Montrose.
You've been doing that weekly, haven't you?
I haven't done it ever.
Oh, I thought you
did. I watch it, but that is one of the
I
highlights.
visited via social media.
Yeah. I haven't been able to wake up at 7. I wake up, but I don't think about it.
Yeah.
And so I just haven't done it.
It's been huge from what I've seen. I haven't been there.
They just shut it down last week.
Oh no, because it got too big.
There was an article in the Sun-Times where they were talking about how it is it's breaking every single rule in the park district, handbook, I guess.
Got it.
And so
that's a bummer, but
it down. So I think some people still went, but
sure. No, I mean, it makes sense, especially when you're dealing with that many people in the water, because the water can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
But I mean, I saw some pictures online, and it was thousands of people.
The last one was 4,000 people. Wow. 4,000 people waking up on a Friday morning at 7
to go swimming,
to go swim and
in the lake.
Floaty. They do a really good job at promoting it. The guy. They do. It's so
marketing
pretty.
Companies should be on the lookout for the people that were behind it.
Guy who
started it for
with the social media presence. Dang.
Yeah. But it's a bummer to hear that they shut it down. But I think once again, it's very realistic of what our city. This is some of the ebb and flows of things moving forward.
There's only so many ladders, right? So you have to sit. You have to sit and tread water, and some people can't. Yeah. I mean, they haven't lost anybody yet. But I think that's the reason
that they know of.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. No, better to get ahead of it. I agree that there were some safety concerns in that, but it's a bummer to hear.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, let's dive in.
Yes. All right. So first one, how is an increase in rates affecting buyers and sellers right now?
Oh, the rising interest rates question. This has obviously been our topic of conversation for going on year 2.
Yep.
And it's interesting. Obviously, they are still moving in mostly an upward direction. I think on the good side is that there's very few clients that we're working with right now that were part of the previous market where the rates were, as we said, unhealthily low. So the good news is we're not dealing with as much of losing a ton of buying power, but those that have been in the market have seen that. Mm-hmm. Now, for us, I know we talk a lot about what's happening now. And, as we go into the, Q3, Q4 of the second half of the year, one of the interesting things is that our interest rates are still getting beaten up. And with that, there's a couple of different things that we see going into place. First and foremost, there can be some opportunities in this market. And opportunities, especially for buyers, is not something that we've talked about so far this year.
Yeah.
Because we've perpetually had the inventory issue. So with the inventory issue, opportunities for buyers to not be in cutthroat competitive situations has been hard. When the interest rates go up, especially when it's coupled with a time of year when we tend to see the market exhale and settle in a little bit, the interest rates going up can create an additional pause. People get nervous. They start to say, my purchasing power is a little bit less, and they pause. Mm-hmm. That pause, in my opinion, and I think you're very much in line with this, can create some opportunities that while others are sitting it out and waiting for things to get better, that it can cause some opportunities for those buyers. And we've even had some people that are looking more into next year that have been calling saying, hey, I'm a spring 2024 buyer, that we've been really kind of talking to about what their goals are and what they want to accomplish, and say, hey, we may be in front of a smaller window of time where you may be able to do a little bit better and buy at a slightly higher interest rate with less competition, knowing that in the next 12, 18, 24 months, you're going to be refinancing and owning that same property at the more negotiable price you got today and at a lower interest rate. So I think for our buyers, there's definitely more situations that are creating opportunities for them. The sellers, obviously, it's working slightly against, but we're just getting more creative in our negotiations, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about 2-1 buy downs forever,
but they were gone for the spring.
We actually personally have never done one, and now we have a couple of transactions where we're like, hey, what would a 2-1 buy down actually work? And it is working. We just put together a successful transaction based on a 2-1 buy down because one of our buyers was on the fence because it was they were purchasing a little higher than what it was in the budget, but it was a little bit higher than what they had initially. They were under contract with another agent under another property and then decided to work with us. And literally just it was a bit of a shell shock because interest rates in that week, when they were locked in with their other property versus when they were purchasing this property, went up 0.5%.
It's a big deal.
And so it was a big deal. So we did the 2-1 buy down.
So and it's a great conversation because, for last year, this time of year, we were really looking into different mortgage products to provide some flexibility in what we do. And then we talked a little bit more about that. This spring market, because the market was so competitive, there was no opportunity for these things. But now we're back in a time which, as we just talked about, there's maybe some more opportunities to use these programs. Now, Samuel, what is a 2-1 buy down?
So a 2-1 buy down it's essentially the seller is setting an escrow aside for the 2-year duration, and it buys your interest rate down 2% for the first year, 1% for the second year. It literally is that escrow is the difference that it's saving, and it goes towards the seller essentially is using that escrow to pay your interest rate, that difference for the 2 years.
Technically, they don't set it aside, but it feels like they do.
No, it literally is setting aside. It's like insane.
But the seller doesn't. The seller is gone from the picture.
They don't. Yeah, the seller is not paying it. It's set aside with the bank, and the bank has that escrow that is.
For example. And so these are different programs to make the rates a little bit more enticing right now for our clients. I actually had it in the other thing, and I've done a few of them over the years. I had it where we were negotiating on a property where I was representing the seller. What the buyer wanted to pay and what the seller was willing to take were two numbers that needed the gap to be bridged. And so what we did was we provided the credit to create this situation to pay for the buy down, which we were able to go back to the buyer and say, if I can make your
payment
less than what you agreed to at your number, would you be willing to move forward?
Yeah.
So if we can make it cheaper on a monthly basis and put you ahead, is that how we bridge the gap? So that's something that we're definitely doing. So,
trying to be creative.
We have to get a little bit more creative in this market for certain. I mean, the good news is the sellers still have the benefit of there's not a lot of inventory.
Yes. Can we also do another plug for buyers right now?
Sure.
Anything under probably 400,000, right? The IDHA program just came back.
I'm going to stop you because the numbers are so crazy on this.
So,
oh my God.
Yeah. So the IDHA program just came out.
But that's what I'm saying.
So it's the same program.
Yes.
They increased the income, which is allowing a lot more people to qualify for it.
Exactly.
So that's the big thing.
So the things to note on that, and that's where I got so excited. I wanted to jump in. The income levels on it, right? It used to be seen as a little bit of it's a grant assistance type program, right? Down payment assistance. But the income levels were always very, very low. The income levels on it just got raised to like $132,000.
$132.
It's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to make.
Yes.
And the bigger thing is the property values. Now it depends on whether or not you're in what they consider a targeted or a non-targeted area, but they go up well into the 500,000 and 600,000s now. So there's a lot of people that didn't necessarily think that they could fall into the categories for these types of down payment assistance. Now the big thing on it is that the interest rate on the IDHA program is like a percentage point lower than conventional rates right now.
It's better interest rate. It's $6,000 up to $6,000 of closing cost credits. You do have to take a course. Yeah. So you have to take, I think it's an hour or two. Yeah. And you have to like do that process. But this is like
huge.
We literally have I have 3 buyers right now that are using this IDHA program.
For certain.
And it is, I mean, it makes a world of a difference.
No, the interest rate alone.
Interest rates.
No, you're great for bringing that point up. It's something that we are having a lot of people reconsider that option, because before just people in a metropolitan area just made a little bit too much.
Yeah,
but now it works.
Because it used to be 78,000.
Yeah.
So 78 to 132. That's a
huge jump. Huge jump.
Yeah, we're really, really excited about that.
No, for certain. Yeah, right. Moving on. What is your favorite Midwest fall trip
to take?
Sure. I love fall, by the way.
I love fall too. I'm not a Halloween person. I don't like face paint.
That's like fighting words in our household. It doesn't matter whether you are.
You do a lot. I am not a face paint person. I hate the gory stuff. I like the cute little pumpkins and like the hay bales and whatnot.
I love fall though. The weather, the change, all of it.
Yeah.
If winter didn't follow it, it would be my favorite season.
Yeah. So my favorite is I like the orchards, like going up to the apple orchards up in Wisconsin. I just think that's like a really nostalgic thing, obviously being from Wisconsin. So it's just like one of those perfect things.
Do they serve cheese with the apples?
So you can stop at Mars cheese.
And you get a chunk of cheese and you go up.
Yeah. So yeah, I would probably say that's my favorite Midwest.
I can see there was one place that we used to go. I'm not going to remember the name of it, but just above the border into Wisconsin, where you would pay for the pumpkins by the carload. So you'd take we'd take our biggest car, and you'd like give them $20 when you drove in, and as much as you could put in your car, you could take. It's crazy.
And they're no longer in business because they clearly have gone out of business.
Who knows on that? But I remember that. No, for certain.
Inflation now, it's $40. Sorry.
The people started bringing semis in.
Yeah. Some people take advantage of it.
No, for certain. It's so true. It's so true. No, and I agree with you. I love all the orchards, the pumpkin areas. All of that is fantastic. I'm a little partial. As you know, we have a farm out in Northwest Illinois. We're about 20 minutes from Galena. It is such a beautiful place this time of year because you get all of the rolling hills. People think Illinois is flat. It is not flat out there. You start to get the color changing. I love just being out at the farm that time of year just because you see everything changing. And I mean, Galena has incredible wineries. There's actually 2 wineries that we really enjoy. One of my favorite steakhouses is actually out there, Log Cabin. I had one of the best fillets of my entire life out there many, many moons ago. So I think the food is good. The antiquing is good. It's just kind of and it's nice. It's 2 hours from the city, so it's a good getaway. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Love that.
Yeah.
Thank God you bought the farm.
minus all the work that goes into it. There is some fun as well. There's actually, this is pretty interesting. We haven't done it yet, but it's on our to-do list this fall. You can go hiking with goats. So there's this place where basically you pay the admission fee and you go on a hike, and they've got like 100 goats that go hike with you.
So you paid to herd somebody else's animals.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Little goats. And they follow you around.
That's cute. I love it. All right, next one is talking about what podcast are you currently listening to?
Oh, I love this. I am a little bit of a podcast junkie. Yeah, I love my podcast. Like if I'm on the car and I'm not on, if I'm not on a call and I don't have my kids in the car, which they have their own playlist and we kind of do it ad nauseum, I'm usually listening to a podcast. My hands down favorite is going to be the Prof G with Scott Galloway.
Yeah.
I adore the man. I really got turned on to his work during the pandemic. He did a lot of really interesting stuff. Prior to that, he was known for he's a collegiate professor teaching business. He's a really, really smart guy. For me, my biggest thing about him is I really appreciate now, not only is he talking about some really dry subjects with regards to business and the world and how things are changing, but he has a huge kind of human element to it. He talks about life. He wrote a book years ago called the Happiness of Algebra, or the Algebra of Happiness. Thank you. I'm going to get it right. That I actually give that out as a gift to every college graduate that I know. I think it's a fantastic book to read as an adult or as a young adult. It just kind of deals with life. So I really appreciate his perspective. He humanizes a lot of things. He's very real. He's very fallible. And I appreciate that. I also listen to the Gary Vee Experience quite a bit. He's very high energy. So I can't listen to him as consistently. I have to take nuggets of him. But I think he's a super smart dude. Yeah. And he's got a lot of forward-thinking ideas. So those are kind of the things, especially on a life/business track for me.
That's awesome.
What about you? What do you?
You did get me into Scott G, or Professor G.
Yeah.
So I do listen to him as well. I do a lot of different podcasts. It just depends. Right now I'm listening to, I like a lot of Chicago-based ones.
Yeah.
That for me is like super important. So I listen to CityCast Chicago, which they always end on good news. And it's so nice to hear positive talk about your city.
Right.
And especially since like everyone is so negative about it, but they give great suggestions on places to go, like festivals, like everything Chicago. Yeah. They give a little news, but then they're talking about like restaurants. They also have segments that go over different neighborhoods.
Oh, nice.
And so they highlight different neighborhoods, and literally it's locals who live in the neighborhood, what their favorite things to do, like all of it. It's just fun.
Oh, that is super fun. I'm going to have to get that one from you later. What was it again?
CityCast Chicago.
CityCast Chicago.
Yeah, they have a blog, so you can get it every morning in your email.
Awesome.
So I do that one. I do just NPR's Up First, which is kind of nice. It's just like a quick little thing to get news. It doesn't overdrown everything. There's no like political
right. It's not this side or this side.
It's very just like, here's the news, here, like just a quick update. I think that's really great.
Yeah.
And then they also have like the indicator underneath it, which is where I get a lot of my economics from.
Yeah.
So that's always fun. And then for just shits and giggles, I love My Favorite Murder. I've always loved them.
What is that?
It's a murder podcast. Okay. So it's these two comedians, and they literally just talk about like the murder stuff. I don't know. They have stories. So they research the story. They like talk about it, and then
like real live murders.
Yeah. So like,
is there something I should know about you, Samuel?
I mean, I love a good serial killer. Somebody did say something the other day about serial killers as a kid, like as a baby, and I was like, I never did that, so now I'm not a serial killer. So
well, that's good, because I was just about to say, if I go missing, please check Samuel's place first.
Or Jeffrey
his
Dahmer's from my hometown, so I'm like, well, not my hometown, but like my area. And Gacy is from here, so I'm like, we have a lot of serial killers that are around this Midwest area.
There's fascinating.
There also is talks of a serial killer being here in Chicago. There's been like 20 men that have disappeared, and so it's very fascinating.
I have nothing to say on that topic. I'm going to move on. Oh, this is fun. This is fun. You are way more exciting on this front than I am. But what's the most adventurous meal you've ever had?
So I am not an adventurous person when it comes to...
But you go out so much.
Yes, I go out, but I go to very safe places where I know, like, I'm going to like whatever it's going to be.
Do you have a safe word when you go there?
No, I have no safe word. But, so we kind of talked about it, but I would say Alinea would probably be the most adventurous. I mean, it is kind of like a ballet. I mean, it was really, really cool. So it's not adventurous in the terms of like food, because the food is very like normal.
But the experience.
But the experience was adventurous.
I mean, so was it? I haven't been, because I'm a terrible planner, personally, not professionally. How was it? Was it fantastic? Was it stunning?
It was good. I think it's probably a one-time thing.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't go back personally, just because I like to eat, and it's a sample.
Too much portion control.
There's too much portion control. Yeah, it's really beautiful, like just stunning, like how they do it, and literally the people, the way that they orchestrate
the presentation. I hear is
really. Just even like with the waiters, right? The wait staff, like they literally like serpentine in between the tables.
Yeah,
like, it's all done at once, and so that is really cool. But
that's awesome.
I'm not like hey, I'm gonna go eat frog legs, or I have had frog legs.
Yeah, did you like them?
Taste just like chicken.
Fair point.
Hugo's Frog Bar,
right? Exactly.
Staple.
My most adventurous meal, I could say hands down. It was not necessarily one that I chose, but I got taken to. I'm gonna go back quite some time. We were in San Francisco for an Inman convention. I was speaking there. I was speaking the next day. The evening before, we got invited from I believe it was the Chinese Association of Realtors.
Oh, yeah.
They invited us to one of the most popular, authentic Chinese restaurants in San Francisco. It was an honor to be on the guest list. It was a beautiful restaurant. They had these huge windows overlooking. It was stunning. And they came out, and I said, oh, I like Chinese food, right? Who doesn't? And they came out and they explained that they were going to be serving us a very traditional and authentic Chinese meal.
Amazing.
I am very adventurous with food. I will try everything once. Okay. If I don't like it, I won't try it again, but I will try everything once. And they started to bring us course after course after course. And every course was a little bit more obscure than the one before. I think we started with some, I think they politely called it squab, which I believe was then explained to me was really pigeon. We went through a few more courses. We got to shark fin soup. I tested everything. To be completely honest, I love food, and nothing really tasted very good to me. Okay. So it just didn't line with my palate, even to the point where as we were going through the meal, I kept not feeling better, and I felt sicker and sicker. And by the time that dessert came around, and I love dessert. I'm a dessert girl.
You didn't eat the dessert.
I didn't even eat the dessert. Okay. We were getting ready to leave, and at one point I said, oh my God, I'm going to be sick. Yeah. And I raced down. It was one of those things that you had to go downstairs to get to the bathroom. I ran downstairs. I got sick. Clearly, it didn't agree with my body. And then somehow I had to pull myself together to speak the next day, which it was a rough go at it. But definitely my most adventurous. I'd still go back and do it again.
Did anybody else get sick?
Not that I know of, or at least not that well, stuck to it. But it was adventurous. I will still keep my mentality that I will try anything again. I don't think I'm going back to double dip for shark fin soup. Yeah. That's when I thought the culprit was, or at least when I was. Anyways.
Sharks should stay in the ocean.
Not in my soup.
Not in your soup, no.
Anyways, that was a fun one. Yeah. Okay, here. Wow, this is a good one. This is one that I think we get quite a bit.
Yeah.
What's the best thing that somebody could be doing to help better their credit and build their credit to get a mortgage?
So I think it depends on the individual person. Yep. There are so many different things that you can do in order to improve it. So some people, it's paying down debt. Some people, it's literally, taking, opening up more credit cards.
Sure, establishing credit.
Yep, getting more credit established. Sometimes it's removing some collections and trying to figure that out and seeing how it can drop off. So it's essentially just planning for the most part, I would say.
Yeah, we've had quite a few clients that, especially collections with utility companies. Utility companies are the culprits a lot, and a lot of times it's falsely done. So we've actually had clients that, with the help of some of our lenders, have been kind of instructed of how to go back and get those things removed. And it's amazing how you could see a pretty quick increase in rates off of that. And I think what you're saying is absolutely what we talk about. Planning and strategy is everything that we do, right? Yeah. And we always encourage our clients to be coming to us early if there's the possibility. Not everyone has the possibility, but to start conversations with us well in advance, because we can get ahead of these things. And you're right, everyone's going to be in a different track. Do they need more credit? Do they need to pay down debt? What debt makes sense to pay down? What's going to have the biggest improvement? And only a lender that's literally looking behind their curtains is going to give them the best plan. So just like how we talk about people saying, hey, you may be a 2024 buyer or seller, let's have that conversation now so that we can really hit the timing for next year. We encourage our buyers to be talking to our lenders this early too, because they might say, hey, if you do this for the next 6 months, you're going to be in primo position versus try and do this for the next 3 weeks. So I think so much of it comes back to somebody's specific circumstances. But the reality is the ability to figure out what that plan is and to do so early, it's never going to work against somebody. It's always going to be beneficial at some level, and even more beneficial for some than others.
Yeah. No, I 1,000% agree.
Awesome. No, and I think that just goes into the whole other conversation that we just talked about, is that last year we saw this year we see it again, is that we've got people that we're talking to now about their purchase and sale plans for 2024.
Already.
It's not a bother. It's a preference if possible. We'd rather talk in advance so that we can look to next year and say, here's what we're expecting, here's what we're thinking. Next year's an election year. Yikes. With that being said, there's a lot of funkiness. There's a lot of funkiness, and that can impact our normal stream of market. So if we can talk to somebody right now, we can see what timing is going to make most sense for them, when we think the market's going to be most suitable for them to be successful in, versus all of a sudden getting into the year and saying, oh, wait, maybe we should have been on in the first, in the second week of January or the first week of February, versus waiting till June because of some of the dynamics. So the mortgages are, I think, the same as the market. No harm ever came from reaching out early, starting conversations, and just getting aligned with thought process.
Yeah, I 1,000% agree. All right, last question.
Oh,
the fun one.
Oh, the fun one.
What's your favorite place to take your dog in the city?
Well, I'm going to punt this one to you first, because you are Rodeo goes everywhere with you. Rodeo goes on showings with you.
Yes, right. Yeah. She literally just hangs out in the car. She's gotten so much better. She doesn't eat the trash in the side compartment anymore. So
awesome.
We're making strides.
So what are your favorite? What are your favorite? Right, you are such a good dog daddy.
So
what are your favorite places to take her?
Yeah, so we go all over. So yesterday I was doing showings and literally stopped at Wicker Park.
Yeah.
Dog park, which was really fun. I haven't been to Wicker Park Dog Park in a long time, and I didn't realize that they're actually petitioning to improve it even more. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I saw maybe increase the size a little bit.
Not necessarily. I don't necessarily think it was the size. I think it was putting in turf. Because right now it's just asphalt and the rocks. So I think just improving it some of the other ones. I always say one of my favorites is the 16th and Wabash Dog Park. That one.
I haven't been to that one.
So it's literally right behind 1620 South Michigan.
Okay.
It is really a nice dog park. So it's really long. It has turf. It has water features. It has a lot of everything that you kind of want.
That's awesome.
So
outside of dog parks, what would you say? Are there any places that are super dog friendly that you like to go to?
We walk around my neighborhood. So I live in Cabrini Green. And so there are just tons of open fields because they haven't been developed. So we do our daily walk pretty much through there. It's so nice because the fields are so large. You literally let her off the leash and everyone just lets their dog.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would probably say that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What are you?
I mean, for us, the water is always a big deal, right?
Yep.
Boxers aren't always known. We have boxers as water dogs, but we've kind of created water dogs out of them. So Montrose Dog Beach is probably, I know a lot of people know about it, but we have a ton of fun there. The dogs love to romp in the water. Boxers are not very attractive swimmers If you think of their body build, they kind of look like a child drowning. But all of our dogs love to swim.
What's your like tip for going to Montrose? Because it
can be insane. For me, the biggest tip is timing. You have to be aware. I'm not going to go there at the peak hours. For us, I'd probably say the best time of day, and it usually works into the work schedule as well, is kind of that maybe early to late evening, where the sun's still out. You know, we have the later day, longer days. Not as many people are going to be out, and the beach just isn't very crowded. I don't like being there at very crowded times because I think it just can breed a lot of issues. There's always a few dogs there that aren't quite as dog friendly as they should be.
Yeah.
So to go in off hours, I definitely think is important.
Also, I think having 2 dogs would probably be like really hard to like just keep an eye on both of them.
Yeah, no, unless they're good pack hounds. But yeah, because I feel like there's definitely times that I'm like, who does this dog belong to? From that. So it definitely, in my opinion, it takes a little bit more planning. It's not a secret gem. But to get access to the water, you know, we've actually taught our dogs to be good fetchers so that they have focus in it. We did once upon a time had a Newfie Rottweiler rescue. He was our swimmer, man. That dog would hit Montrose Beach. He would start swimming, and after nothing, he would just go out there. And there were times that I was sending my husband out because he was almost out to the buoys.
Oh my God,
he was gone, and he just loved to swim. But you know, having dogs that are well-trained. Yeah. I think it's a great place to be. And if your dog isn't that dog, then finding something that's a little bit more secluded for certain.
I would say my number one tip with the Montrose Dog Beach is it is literally for you to stand and watch your dog and interact with your dog. Do not think you're going to lay down.
No.
You're not. Or don't bring chairs. Don't bring anything in there that you do not want peed on, sand on, anything like that. Because I don't know how many times I've almost been peed on. That's the issue.
You haven't been peed on?
Oh no,
I'm certain I haven't.
It was close, but literally, like you sit there and you're like enjoying your moment, and then 4 dogs come over and pee on your blanket, but it's almost on you.
No, absolutely. Like the commitment to go to the dog beach, you are committing to take your dog or your fur child to the beach. That is not you time as much as it is them time. And this is a terrible story. Our Newfie Rottweiler, he had this thing that we didn't know at first, and we learned very, very quickly, and then we were able to manage it. But the minute he would hit the water, he'd go to take a poop.
Oh, nice.
So the first time we were horrified because we saw him circling. We're like, oh my God, what's he about to do? What's he about to do? And we went running to do it. So we learned very quickly after that incident, because it was mortifying, that we made sure that he went somewhere else before he hit the water.
Oh, that's good.
No pooping in the water.
It happens. If you're at the dog beach,
right?
That's what happens.
Somebody's pooped in the water.
Yeah. If you want another dog beach that's like a little bit more intimate, the Belmont dog beach is actually really nice. And they put a washing station right out of it, like right outside of it. This is the first year that I've seen them have it. So that's kind of nice.
That is super nice. Anyways, we love the fact that the city is so dog friendly. Go puppies.
Cool.
I think we wrapped it up.
That was it.
Until next time, Chicago.
Until next time.